Good evening, everyone. Hi, good evening, everyone. Just want to confirm if I can be heard and you can see me clearly. We are live now. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you so much for joining this session. Okay. We'll be starting very soon. If you joined, it means that you are ready to ace your next interview, whether it's interview for a job or a scholarship. You are ready to ace it, and I'm so happy for you. I'm really, really happy for you. So we're starting very soon. Our facilitators will be joining us very soon, and some are already here, or one is already here. Just want to see the comments. Hi, Excellence. Good evening. You're welcome. Hi, you're welcome. You're welcome. So please feel free to share the link and tell everyone that the interview practice session 2.0 is live. We are starting very soon. We already started, but we'll go right into it very soon. So share the link with everyone. Share it on your WhatsApp statuses. Share it on your group chats, and just invite people. Invite everyone that you know that needs this and should do better at their next interviews, or just wants to learn in general. So we'll be starting soon. Sorry if you catch me looking down, it means I'm looking at my phone. I'm trying to share the link that I told you to share. I'm sharing it too from my end. So please feel free to share. We are live and we are starting now. Hi everyone. Hi. So if you are just joining, I just want us to have a brief introduction. Just tell us your name, where you are joining from in the comment section, your name, where you are joining from, your expectations for this practice session, for this interview practice session. And if maybe there was a first edition sometime in 2024, and now this is the second edition. So just let me know. Oh, I was around that first session. Oh, this is my first time here. Just type it in the comments. Your name, where you are joining from, your expectations, and just share with me in the comment section. Share with me in the comment section. I would love to read from you, so please share with me in the comment section and I would read them. Okay. So while we're waiting for more people to join, okay. Hi, Pandora. So I have Osakwe Pandora. She's joining from Ogara, Delta State, and she hopes to improve her communication skills during interviews. I hope you do that too. I hope you would be able to do better at interviews going forward. So happy for you, Pandora. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much for joining. Feel free to share the link too. Pandora, is you that invited Faith? I'm seeing Faith too joining from Ogara, Delta State. Hi, Faith. Good evening. Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for joining. So we have Pandora and Faith from Delta State joining us. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So just a bit of experience, of a backstory. This interview practice session, the idea first came to mind in 2024. I had just, okay, I'll tell you the story later. I'll tell you the story later when I want to start, asking the questions. So I think we'll go right into it so that we don't waste much time. we don't waste time. I will just go right into it. So we have one of our facilitator here. That's Dr. Fure Angela Ogbidi. So I would read her bio now. Okay, before I read her bio, Excellence is here. My name is Osime Excellence. I'm currently listening from Okada, Edo State. It's my first time here. My expectations are to learn about interviews and proper ways of communication during such. Thank you very much, Excellence, for joining. And I know you would learn about interviews. I know you will learn how to communicate better during interviews. I know. I'm so excited for everyone that is joining. I'm so excited for you guys. And I hope, and I'm really hoping and praying that you will do better at your interviews going forward. So that we don't waste much time, I would introduce our first facilitator that is here, Dr. Fure Angela Ogbidi. I'll read her bio and then we'll start the session. Ofure Angela Ogbidi is a medical doctor deeply committed to self-discovery and empowerment, holistic healthcare, leadership, and innovative problem solving. Her leadership experiences in different settings have equipped her with skills needed to motivate and guide her team members, peers, and younger colleagues towards discovering, understanding, and expressing themselves while fostering a safe, collaborative environment that enhances teamwork and drives collective success. Creativity stands as one of the core foundations of our expressions. Combining this with critical thinking and effective communication has made it possible for her to listen actively, articulate ideas clearly, and approach challenges with a fresh perspective that gives rise to impactful, replicable solutions. She believes in creating compelling content that simplify complex concepts into relatable scenarios and achievable steps leading to the required results. This she does through channels like writing, designing, and public speaking, amongst others. So I smiled a bit here in the communication aspect since we all want to do better at communication. So you see that you will do better, right? You see? All right. So I'm not done. There is still more. Offer is the owner and lead designer of Frames by His Portion, a frame making brand that creates custom-made picture frames known for their aesthetic, inspirational, and memorable appeal. She's also a co-founder of Share Naturals, a hair care brand that focuses on educating African ladies to groom healthy Afro hair while providing a platform that encourages quality relationships. As is expected for someone passionate about holistic healthcare, Ofre is a committed member of the Christian Medical and Dental Association of Nigeria, an organization with a vision centered around caring for the whole man, spirit, soul, and body. Having served in various capacities in the student arm, most notably as the first female president of the UBTH chapter, and currently serving in other roles within the organization. She is the first daughter and child in a family of 6, and firmly believes this is a feat that deserves its own personal acknowledgement. And I totally agree. First daughter, first child. See, you're already on another level. You can find her on LinkedIn as Dr. Ofre Angela Ogbidi, Instagram as Ofre Angela Ogbidi, all joined together, no space or underscore. Substack as Letters from His Portion, and on Spotify via her podcast, His Portion's Head Space. So please let's give it up for Dr. Ofre Angela Ogbidi. So please, I'd like to see our response in comments, our claps, our virtual claps. You are welcome, Dr. Ofre. You are welcome. So please, our virtual claps in the comments as Dr. Free would be joining soon. Dr. Free.
Hi.
Hi. Hi,
Good
Dr. Free.
evening. Hi, Montessori.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a part of this and agreeing to do this with me. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure, really.
Thank you. All right. So we going right into it. Before I ask the questions, I already have some questions that I've prepared here. Some questions that I prepared, and also some that the participant that filled out the form puts. So before I go right into it, I just want to just tell us a bit about yourself. Maybe something that was not in the bio. Just say hi. Just something before we go into the questions.
Okay. I personally believe that bio was verbose enough. So I'll just add one weird fun fact, which is that I like taking midnight strolls. I think that will do.
Wow, that's lovely. So it means after this session now you go for a midnight stroll.
It depends on when it
But not
ends.
we'll not no, we are not ending at midnight. We're ending before then. We're ending before then. Wait, midnight like specifically 12 a.m. or midnight like late nights?
Well, okay, late at night is better. Late at night. I mean, just leave it at late at night. Let's not enter the whole Nigeria is unsafe gist that will start when to start
Yeah,
talking about
yeah,
this.
yeah. Right. It's true, you're actually right. There's something really refreshing about late night show. But let's not go into that. Let's just go right into our session for today. So before I ask the first question, I want to give a backstory. I said I'll share this earlier. In 2024, this was how the interview practice session came about. I had an interview. I don't remember the exact details of it, but I know that they asked me a question, and after I don't know how I answered it, but I was just like, what to say? You could have done better. Like I felt like I did not answer it properly. So I was like, oh, how many people will be in the same shoes as I was? Like, oh, we have to wait till we are after school till we start preparing for interviews. And lucky enough for me, I'm still in school, so I still have that time to practice and do better before waiting till after school to get like a proper job to do that. So the question was, tell me about yourself. So I want to use this to start. You own a business, and I'm sure you've had the opportunity to interview people and also be interviewed. So how best would you answer questions like these common interview questions? How best do you think we should prepare for it to answer it properly? Questions like, tell me about yourself, tell me your strengths and weaknesses, why should you be selected for this role? So how best do you think we can answer such questions?
Okay. Thank you very much for the question. And by the way, that's the first way to begin answering the question, by actually thanking the people that are asking you. It gives off the feel of, okay, this is a polite person that understands why they are here. So to answer the question of how would I go about answering any question like that comes in an interview, tell me about yourself, what are your strengths and weaknesses, why do you think you're the best fit for the role? I think the first thing I would say is that it should not be a question that catches you unaware. I mean, these are things that we've heard over and over again. So when you are hearing tell me about yourself, it's not the first time, it should not shock you. But what is going to be very important in answering that question, and I'm using tell me about yourself as an example, because many interviewers like to use it as the icebreaker to sort of get you comfortable. And it's very important because there are a million and one things about yourself that you can share. But it's very important that you pick things about yourself that align with this role that you're either being interviewed for, or this opportunity that you want to come into. So if, for instance, you are being interviewed by let's think of something really out there. Okay, let's say you are being interviewed by a tech company, and oh, okay, you write, you draw, you have a very funny habit of collecting comic books or something. Those are not the things you will be saying first when it comes to tell me about yourself. You're going to want to focus on the things that actually they care about, because nobody is bringing you to an interview just to really hear about the things you like or do not like. And it's why even when it comes to talking about your hobbies, same thing for your CV. It's something that should be at the bottom of the list, maybe one or two or three. So when someone asks you, tell me about yourself, obviously you want to get the bio data out of the way, because there has to be an identity. You're a person. You don't assume that your interviewers know who you are already because, oh, I sent in my CV, or oh, it was a very tough exam, and I came out top 5. So the first thing you would do is you would introduce yourself. My name is Angela Obidi. I am 25-year-old, first daughter in a family of 6. I'm a medical doctor. If I was applying for instance, a health role, that's where I would stop first as biodata. And then you can now go forward, pick 2 or 3 key things that relate to the position that you're going for. So for instance, if it was a medical role, I would say I have served in the Christian Medical and Dental Association in leadership capacities. That's one thing. Secondly, I graduated from the University of Benin, understanding that my school has a certain level of reputation in Nigeria. That's the second thing. So just like that, you've cancelled out biodata, you've cancelled out key things about you that make you fit for the role. Then you can now end with something like, my hobbies include reading, especially non-academic books, writing, and taking walks. I think that's enough when they ask you, tell me about yourself, because most times they're expecting you to be concise, 1 or 2 minutes, so that they can go to other more important questions.
I forgot. I forgot I was muted. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. And what about the parts about highlighting your strengths and weaknesses? How do you do that properly?
Okay. So usually though, most people are going to make that a question on its own. But to be on the
Oh,
safe side, you can add that to your whole package, your introductory package.
okay.
So you don't want to go off and be like, my strengths are this. My weaknesses are
Yeah,
that. It's so mechanical. So
yeah,
instead, you can say something like, if you listen to my bio, for instance, there's a way everything just flows into the other. So let's say
yeah.
you finished introducing yourself. I am Ofriantula Obidi, a medical doctor, first daughter and family of 6. I graduated from this. I am very interested in leadership. I'm a leadership enthusiast. You say something like, okay, um, evidenced by my different position, my service as this.
Yeah.
Then I don't think, personally, I don't think you should go off talking about your weaknesses unless they ask for it. Because
Okay.
when you are being interviewed, the goal is to put your best foot forward. They know you're not perfect, but you don't want to go
Yeah.
and start saying, oh, I find it hard to work with people, but I'm working on it. You're already shooting yourself in the foot.
Yes.
So unless
Yeah.
they ask you, and most times the only reason your interviewers would ask you about your weaknesses is because they want to be aware that they want to know that you are self-aware, because there's
Yeah.
nothing worse than someone that thinks that they don't have any flaws. So if they then ask you, what are your weaknesses? Don't go and start sharing stories. Just list 1 and 2 and be sure to also add, however, I'm working on it. However, it was
Yeah.
pointed out to me and I've taken so and so steps to resolve it.
Yes, yes. Okay. Thank you so much. So, guys, we've heard, right? Don't start announcing your weaknesses. Yes, when they ask for it, be truthful. Don't lie, but still say that, oh, I recognize that this is a flaw, or I recognize that this is a weakness, and it might prevent me from doing better, but I'm taking active steps in working towards it. And I think that's what they'll really be interested in. That, oh, you are self-aware, oh, you are aware that you have this, but then you want to be better, and then you are trying to be better. All right. Thank you so
Mhm.
much for sharing that. There was a question that was asked. There was a question that was asked from one of the participants on the form when we shared it. I think it was Deborah that asked this. Now, you have served in leadership positions. Now, how would you communicate the impact you've made and the leadership that you have in such little time? You know that interview sessions are usually they are not long sessions because some
Yeah.
most times they already have quite a number of people that they want to interview. So how do you now merge, oh, I have done this, I have led in this role. How do you now merge that impact and leadership and communicate it effectively in a very short time so you are still stuck to their mind?
Okay. Okay. So that's a very important question. And I believe that you, first of all, how do I feel now? Your interview session does not start when you are sitting in front of your interviewers. It actually starts way before. So it's expected that if you're applying for a role or if you're applying to be part of an organization, that you would have done your research.
Yeah.
You would have done your research. Now, it's not every role you served in that is important to that organization or to that body. Yes, so some people will not care that you served as. For instance, I've served in a myriad of offices. I served as prayer secretary one time. I served as general secretary one time. I served as editor in chief. I served as academic rep, and just unknown like that. So I've touched a lot of places when it comes to different sectors. But if, for instance, I'm applying to a church for any reason, I'm going to bring my prayer secretary foot forward
For,
because
yes.
those are the things that appeal to them. However, if I was applying for a position that involves a lot of fundraising, a lot of mobilization towards raising finances, I would bring up my experience as the head of finance for a rural outreach committee. That would be my first foot forward. And then I would add other things that also align with that. So the answer to that is that when you are trying to talk about a lot of your accomplishments, you must remember that you still have to be concise. So what I would advise you to do, what I usually do, is that because I have researched these persons or this company, I know what their core values are. I know the things that matter to them. I look for those leadership roles that align with those core values. Even if I have like 10, I'll just pick two. And the two most, what's the word? The two most seemingly impactful ones, the ones with the loudest buzz, put those ones forward. If they are interested, it's like giving a bait. If they catch it, they will now be the ones to ask you, okay, so what else have you served in? What other experiences do you have? And then you can go on from there. But as much as possible, just pick one or two things that you know are the juiciest things about you. Like the way in my bio, I just wrote first female president. If I was going for a future forward female anything, that's what I would put out because I know it will get them talking. So that's really how to answer it, is to not try and say everything at once.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. So, guys, thank you for still being with us if you are still here. But if you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments and we would respond to them. No, Dr. Flo will respond to them. So if you have any questions, you can just drop them. I will go over to the next question. For interviews, how do you prepare? What is the best way to prepare for interviews? Whether they are virtual, whether they are physical interviews, how do you prepare well? What are interviewers looking for that you need to prepare to answer or to meet their expectations?
Okay, very, very necessary. In fact, I feel like this would have been the first question. How do you prepare for an
Yeah.
interview? And personally, I've learned to structure it into three ways. So there is the psychological aspects of preparation for your interviews. There's the physical aspects of preparation for your interviews. And then there's the knowledge-based aspects. So I'll start from the last and then move up. For the knowledge-based aspect, I've realized that, and this was something I used to suffer as well, I've realized that very few of us actually prepare for interview sessions. Like, it's just this general mindset of, oh, okay, I'm going for an interview. What do they do? Okay, they're an oil and gas company. And maybe you just find out the name of the CEOs, just some basic level research or one Google Wikipedia stuff. And then you feel like you're ready, you're good to go. But people that stand out during interviews are those that have done the thorough work. And it's very easy in our time, in this our global era, to actually do thorough work on preparing for an interview. So, for instance, if I want to interview someone for my business, Films by Portion, I'm going to be more intrigued by the person that can tell me, oh, okay, yes, you are Dr. Friangela Obidi. You started Films by Portion in 2021. I've always wondered what it was that stirred up the very first time you decided to do sanity frames. I'm thinking, oh, this person really did their research. This person is interested. So it's very important that you do so. Many times, the people that will interview you are the top dogs of the business. They're on LinkedIn. It doesn't take much to go and search up the company, search up at least their board members, the CEO, top managers there, and just know the names. No names at the very least. Even if you cannot remember when they got a particular degree or stuff like that, just know their names. And it sets for very interesting conversations. Know the core values of whatever it is that you're applying to. Know the products that they churn out, if it's a digital or it's a physical product, and also know what you have to offer in that regard. Although we'll look at that later on. So that's the first thing, knowledge. Have a very, very full knowledge base. The second thing is preparing psychologically. Now, these two are linked. The truth is that the more knowledgeable person is less likely to feel tense. when they're preparing for an interview. The more knowledgeable person is less likely to start having stomach cramps, start having some urinary incontinence or frequency because because they are very, and all the things I'm saying, I've experienced it when I'm trying to prepare for an interview and I'm sweating. I suddenly want to pee. Oh my God, that's when I realize I need to use the restroom. And it's because there's a part of you that feels like you're not fully prepared. And while you will never feel 100% ready, that filling your knowledge base does something for you. So if you have that to a certain level, you are steady. Now, when you have the information, you feel like you need basic information to be able to engage your interviewers in a conversation if need be. You have to now start speaking to yourself. And it's something that I've learned over time. Before I go for either a speaking opportunity or I'm going for an interview, anything like that, I have made it a practice to stand in front of my mirror and just talk to myself. So something like, Offrey, you've got this, you've prepared for this, you are fit for this role, and these are the reasons why. So sometimes it's even good to write out a list, flesh out a list. Okay, you were going to apply for a creative director to be in charge of the editorial team. You know the things that you have done that will make you fit for this role. You know the skills you've acquired. You know the experiences you've gathered. You can write a list and then speak to yourself that, okay, I've done this, I've hyping yourself and it can, I want to say, can you hear me?
It went off for a while, but I can hear you now.
Okay, so yes, so when it comes to the psychological aspect, you psych yourself up. Sometimes it's good to have mantras. Just find a quote that resonates with you, work with that. And then finally, physically, you know, the whole thing of dress the way you want to be addressed. Many times we think it's just for the interviewer. We think that, okay, I need to look serious so that they will take me seriously. But the truth is that you also need to look serious so that you will take you seriously. So I realized that for interviews or speaking opportunities where I dressed to the nines, like I was not dressing flamboyantly, but I dressed like someone that was going for something major. I walked with a certain level of confidence. I spoke more confidently. I sat up better in my seat. There's just something about being in the right attire, wearing the right perfume, you know, not having to worry if whether you're having mouth odor or not, that sets you in the right that sets you in the right frame of mind. You need that. You don't want to start thinking, oh my God, I should have taken mint, so hope my mouth is not smelling, especially when you're just sitting over a table with your interviewer. So they seem like very minute things, but they can ruin your stability mentally. So as much as possible, try and tick all those things off and you'd be very prepared to have an interview, at least at basic level.
Yes, yes, thank you. I can so agree with that because even that part about dressing well, the times that I just put in more effort, I feel more
Yeah.
confident. That part is really true. You feel more confident
Mhm.
and you'll be able to now express yourself better. Because that thing, if you are not confident, you might know the stuff or you might actually be the best person for the role, but you just feel down in a way and then you'll not be able to communicate it
Exactly.
properly and sometimes they would not give you the role. So I totally agree with that. So in as much as you've prepared psychologically, you are good for the role, you have everything required, still put in the effort to look good and dress well, not for them, but
Mhm.
for you. So you're able to communicate your value to them. Thank you so much. Now, still on this, I want you to just share some tips on answering questions in interview sessions. What are the tips that, okay, this is how you should answer this question, this is how you should answer the question? I know you mentioned some in the previous questions that we shared, but if you can just share maybe one or two more.
Okay, so I'll share two. The very first one is don't be in a hurry to answer a question, especially when you've not practiced. Some of us, we practice before an interview, we pick out likely questions, and we know it so well, we know the answers to these questions so well that when they ask you, it's literally at spinal level, you just pour it out. But when it's a question that you are not ready for or you're not familiar with, it's okay to take about 10, 15 seconds to just, ruminate over it in your head. Nobody's going to ask you, yeah, why are you not answering yet? So for instance, if someone asks you a question like, where do you see yourself in 5 years in this company if you were going to be employed, and you've never really thought of that, it's okay for you to just pause and think about it. Okay, how do I want to phrase this answer? What exactly are these people expecting me to say? The first 15 seconds can be very key in preventing you from rambling as against giving something concise. So that's the first thing. And then the second is that when you are asked a question and you don't get it, it's okay to ask for it to be reiterated. It's okay to say something like, just to be clear, ma, is this what you're trying to ask? Are you trying to ask me where I see myself with regards to position, or where I see myself with regards to, the carrying out of my roles? Just to be clear, nobody is going to hit you over the head with a stick for wanting clarity. In fact, in some cases, especially when interviewers are not short-tempered, it would make them know that, okay, this person is actually someone that puts thoughts to the questions that are being asked. They see from different perspectives and they want to give me an answer that suits my perspective. So those are the two things I would say are very key when you need to answer questions.
Okay, thank you so much. So don't be in a hurry and feel free to ask them to repeat or reiterate the question. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Free, for that. So, if I say Dr. Flourish, Miss Flourish will be here, will be joining us soon. She just said that she has this bit of network issues. So once she's able to resolve that, she'll be joining us. So I moved over to the next question. Now, this question again was from one of our participants. Now about this impacts what you've done. Now, how can you speak and share openly and honestly the work that you've done without it seeming like you are tooting your own horn? Now, what do I mean? You have done this, or you contributed to this. Now, how do you now say that and say, oh, I did this, or I did not do this, without it seeming like though you are proud or taking all the glory? So I want you to just address that.
Okay, so when it comes to this, I believe still back to the knowledge base, a good knowledge of where you're applying to makes all the difference. If you are going for an organization that values high performance individuals, that values high flyers, that values innovation and doing things big, my brothers and sisters, toot your horn. When you are in a group of high achievers, there are very few things that impress them. So do not, in a bid to, in quotes, look humble or not be arrogant, keep your major wins or try to tone it down. So for instance, if I'm going for an organization that's being headed by someone like, for instance, Folorunsho Alakija or Ibukun Awosika, I'm not going to be doing by the grace of God, I was just a vessel. God helped us to now do this because because I want to, not come off as proud. I'm going to say it clearly that I served as the first female president, and in my tenure, we're able to carry out subsidy for over 150 students to move from Benin to Abuja. We're also able to get our first bus for the first time in 12 years. It happened in a span of 2 months. You're going to be stating it like that because these are people that have been there, done that, bought the t-shirts, move on. However, if for any reason you now find yourself applying to a place where they have insecurity issues, by insecurity I mean personal insecurities, like a certain sector, I will not call the sector's name, but more to say our sector. If you are trying to apply for maybe something like a housemanship position, you have to bring yourself down. Even if you are outside, you are someone else. So those things are very important. You cannot come and start saying all these things, up like, hey, in that case, go and do your house job somewhere else now. So when you know the places that you're applying to, you would know how to act accordingly. You just tie the impact stories to the places that matter, and just be confident and sincere. I don't really think anybody would have an issue with you sharing your impact stories. Okay, I think the only downside to this is don't don't stretch it out. Don't start telling them like the story inside unless they ask you. Don't start telling them that that was how I now went. Mm-mm. Don't do that. Just state it plainly. If they're interested, they'll ask you more.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing. And in addition to that, I think I would also like to add the fact that there should be numbers and statistics. I think these people are very key
Mhm.
about that.
Yeah.
Don't just say, oh, I did this, oh, okay, how did you do it? Like you said, now we raised our first boss in 12 years in 2 months. So they want to know, okay, how did you do it? Not that we got 500 people to come. 500, how? Okay, what exactly happened? Let the numbers show, let the numbers speak for itself, because these people, they work with data, they work with statistics. They want to know, okay,
Yeah.
if you are joining us, we can get 10% increase, you can get a 20% customer retention, all these kind of things. So that's why it's good to document. Oh, I have done this, I have, through my ideas, we were able to do this, I was able to help in this regard. Without being proud, you can just document. So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing. It all boils down to the fact that you need to do your research about the organization you're applying for. You need to do your research. It's very important that you do that. Now you're able to know, oh, is this something that I should say? Is this something that I should not say? Is this something that they would appreciate? I remember when we used to prepare for our MBA exams, we would people will be telling us stories of how during their viva, that's their oral exams, they'll just meet one examiner formally say, ah, are you an Arsenal fan? Did you watch the match yesterday? Then from there they ask them, oh yeah, tell me any question answer. All because of football. I am a fan. I want to.
Football,
So
honestly,
it
like a
all,
shared interest.
yeah, there has to be a shared, but then it all comes down to the fact that, did you know? Did you do your research to know? If you now start
Mhm.
maybe saying you are a football fan, or you are a basketball fan, to someone that has no interest in sports, or someone that maybe they lost so much, they will really not be interested. You need to know, how to put the knowledge and communicate the interest that you share. Thank you so much for
Very
sharing
true.
that, Dr. Kwe. Thank you. So guys, if you still have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment. We'll be rounding up soon. Feel free to just drop your comments in the session, and then we would your questions in the comment section, and then we would respond to them. This question is, I think, one of the most important one. Ego, money, money. So I want to before I ask this question, I just want to share a story. I think this happened last year. Someone reached out to me for a job, not really a job, a role or something. Graphic design. I do designs once in a while. So she reached out to me, and she already told me before that, oh, Motesa, I'll send you a message. I want you to do some designs for me. So I already started picturing, like, already know, okay, this is how much I would ask for and everything.
Sorry, Omontese, I can't hear you anymore. Can you still hear me? Mhm. Okay, so let me be sure if it's from my end. I will log in and log out and log back in. Is that fine? But I think you can hear me. Okay, so let me do that. Okay, so I'm still not hearing you, but can you hear me?
Can you hear me now? God, network, please, Lord. Can you hear me now? Hi. Hi, Miss Flourish. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining.
Apologies. Thank you to yeah, thank you. Apologies for joining in late. I had some hiccups. But yeah,
No,
happy to be here.
no, no problem. All right. Okay. I just have to confirm we cannot hear now, right?
Good evening, Alfred.
Yes. Hi, Flourish.
Okay. So
Yes,
you
I
said
can
that the
hear
network was waiting for Miss Flourish to come
you.
back.
I totally agree.
It was like, oh, a distinguished person is about to join us. Let me pause so that she can join. So before we move over to the questions, we've answered a bit some questions, and we still have some that we have unanswered. But before we go continue, I would like to read your bio. So, Ms. Farish Okonkwo, she is a seasoned finance professional with expertise in valuation, financial modeling, and investment research. With experience spanning financial services, energy, and consumer businesses, she has worked with diverse clients. She's passionate about empowering students and young professionals with skills and knowledge needed to thrive in the industry. She holds a BSc in Economics from University of Benin, and she's a member of the prestigious Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. So please, guys, our second facilitator is here. So please, let's put our hands together for her in the comment. The virtual claps. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. So thank you so much. I'm so glad
Thank you
to
so
have you
much.
here. So I like there was a part that was in your bio that was very interesting, and so it's related to the question I was about to ask. Finance, ego, money. So I was sharing a story before, I think before I got cut off about last year. Someone reached out to me for a job, a graphic design role, because I do designs once in a while. She wanted me to design something, so she has sent a message that, oh, Omote, say I'll reach out to you later, I'll have a call with you, and I want you to design some things for me. And then, so with that knowledge, I already started imagining in my mind, okay, start planning, okay, this is how much I would ask for and everything. So when she came and we had the call, she told me, okay, this is what I expect from you, this is how frequent I want the designs to be, and also how much should I pay you. I think the right thing I did at that time was not to tell her how much was in my mind. I just asked her, okay, what's your budget for this role? The budget was way more than what I put in my mind, what I had expected. See, if I had said that thing, I was like, what they say? This is how you just shortchange yourself. So I want you to just answer the question about how do you negotiate salaries and payments without undercharging and still without overcharging, without like saying doing asking for more than what is required for a role. So Miss Flourish, you can answer this question. We can't hear you. I think you are muted, so you can check. Network. Oh, I think she has left the call again.
I think at this point, Starlink is a must for every Nigerian because we are going through a lot.
Right. But one day we'll get there. So, and Dr. Fred, I think you can just start answering the question. Maybe when she joins in, when she's able to join us, she would answer.
No problem. And even if she does not, please, you have her type it because I know rather, we're going to have to learn a lot from what she has had to say because she's someone that had actually scaled up the ranks 2 offices
Yeah.
in less than 2 years. So this matter of negotiating your fees or negotiating an increase in salary or negotiating for even something as basic as a better office space, it's always good to first of all not show your hand. In that your story, that was a very wise thing you did there by not just saying, oh, okay, give me 5K for each design, and someone is there ready to pay you 10 or 15 per design. And especially if, for instance, you've never actually experienced such a steep price increase, or if you've always had customers, clients who, even when you're giving them your services, they're telling you that now this thing is so expensive, bring it down a bit. There's that tendency to want to shortchange yourself. Oh, she's back. Okay, so I think I'll just quickly wrap up and leave her to really deal with this. So one thing I've learned from negotiating prices is to have a good idea of what your counterparts, your contemporaries in similar roles are being paid. I feel like one thing it does for you is that it broadens your mind. So when you know what the highest offer that can be given to this same role is, and you also know what the least offer that can be given to this same role is, it increases your ability to dare to demand more. And at the same time, it also allows you know when you are being too high for your role. So, for instance, I also design. When I wanted to start charging designs for charging money rather for my designs, I had to have a conversation with some of my friends who are really big guns in the design space. Just hearing them talk about how they were getting hundreds of thousands and even millions in some cases for design gigs, it just made me know that okay, this 10K per flyer you are asking for is not too much. In fact, you will never go below that again. And it's just one of those things that it does for you. So you're not going to be able to make a reasonable negotiation or a reasonable bid if you are not aware of what the better options are. So before you start thinking, oh, I'm earning less than I really should be paid, you need to have the facts down. If you are, for instance, if you are okay, I'm a doctor, so I keep using that. Let's say you are a medical officer for a private hospital and you are being paid 350. All it takes is for you to hear that there are medical officers in other places being paid 500 for you to realize that, no, we need to have a negotiation done. And by the time you're negotiating with facts. So you're not feeling like, oh, you are being too pricey, or let me not say it. You're not pitying anybody. You're not asking for too much because you know what should be. And then the second thing, because it's very easy to say, oh, this person, they're paying them 10K, pay me 10K too. This person, they're paying them 500, pay me 500. You should also be realistic. When it comes to a sector, when it comes to a role, you need to be sure that you are indispensable to an extent to be able to negotiate for the prices that you are calling for. Because let's say you're a shabby worker or you do the barest minimum, or your role is something that anybody else can do, you now come and I'm your company owner and you're telling me that increase my this thing by 70%. And I'm like, there are many people outside. If you go, someone else will come. That already shows that you're not going to get what you're looking for. So you must make sure that, oh, you've worked so well, you've honed your skills so much that you are an ace in your team or in your organization, and then you can make that negotiation offer, you can make that bid.
All right. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. It's right that part about you being knowledgeable and you actually having what it takes to charge up to. So are you want to charge 20K for something? Are you 20K? Are you worth 20K? Like is your work worth that amount? Not yourself. I mean, is your work worth that amount? So it doesn't look like they're spending their money or they are wasting their money. So it's very important that before you can negotiate, you actually know that you are coming with facts, and then you're actually ready for that price or that price increase. Thank you so much for sharing that. So Miss First keeps sent a message that her network um is still fluctuating. So those that will benefit from her would be most likely those that will have their mock interview session with her tomorrow. So sorry, so sorry for that. Final question. I think the last question I'll be asking from my end, so we can end this session. So, guys, if you have any question, once I'm done with this question and Dr. Free is done with her response, we would answer them. But if we don't get any question, I think we'll end it at that. Now, the end. Okay, you finally got into the end of the interview. You've done everything you should. You've come with the right knowledge. You've come with the right facts. You've negotiated the salary. You feel you are good. You hear that response. You hear the shake. You are shaking the person, or from the virtual. If it's a virtual event, you hear, "Oh, thank you very much for your time. We'll get back to you." All with smiles and everybody's smiling at you, and you're like, "Oh, I aced it." What do you do after? What is the next line of action? Do you send a message and be like, "Oh, remember you said you get back to me," or do you believe them and say, "Oh, okay, don't worry, and whenever they are ready to get back to me, they'll get back to me"? So how do you respond, or what now goes on after the interview? Do you always have to send follow-up messages or follow-up emails? So I would like a response to that. Thank you.
Okay. So post interview, people have a lot of takes. Some people are like, don't send like post interview emails so that you know like you're spamming them, so that you don't look too desperate, yada yada yada. But I can say that one thing I have learned is the truth is that you do want this role, and there's a certain part of people that want to know that what they're offering matters to you. So I believe that as much as possible, so far there is that option, you should send a follow-up message. Now, what would matter is what the content of your follow-up message is. The best way to avoid instances where you are not certain if they are getting back to you or they are not getting back to you, or if you are spamming them or if you should not spam them, is by making sure your very first follow-up message has a detailed, or rather has a precise request for a timeline. So you have done the interview, everybody has said great job or we'll get back to you. You can send a follow-up email, especially if it's an email that, there's some emails that do not allow you send responses. But if it's an email that allows you send responses, or you already had a prior link of communication with somebody that is either in charge of the interview, in charge of human resources, or one of your interviewers, you can just say, "Oh, thank you very much for the interview. As much as I came to apply for a role, I also ended up learning a lot. Please, would it be possible to know how long it usually takes to get feedback from the company or from the organization? And is it also possible for you to keep me abreast with the changes that are happening, with the progress that is being made?" I've had friends who went for interviews, and just that thing they did alone kept their names, their images in the minds of those people that they had asked, such that for every step of the recruiting process, the person was giving them updates. Okay, so we're done interviewing people now. We're in the next phase of, settling and sieving people out based on their qualifications. And they just keep, because few people ask these things. Everybody just assumes, "Oh, let me not bother them." Or they just assume many people are texting them. So what difference will my own make? Or they are now at the extreme and they are just spamming. "You said you get back to me. You said you get back to me. Please, why have you not gotten back to me?" But to be able to give a follow-up message that is both appreciative, concise and just gives them clear cut, in quote, instructions to follow on how to get back to you, it makes all the difference. All the difference.
All right, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, guys, don't spam. You can just ask, okay, thank you. Especially that part about train appreciation. Oh, in as much as I wanted this role, I still got this. I was still able to learn this. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for sharing that. I know I said it's the last question, but when you were speaking, a question came to mind. I remember there was, I'm really sorry. A question came to mind. I remember there was a time something blew up on I think on social media. Someone responded to a rejection email. So there was I think the person applied for something. Person applied for something, they rejected. When the person sent a rejection, he responded
He
back.
said,
And
I
I don't
reject
know.
your rejections.
Yes, yes. And then there was the fact of, okay, why are you rejecting me or something? So how would you in as okay, how do you was that the right thing to we say it as the right thing, but in situations like that, maybe you get a rejection email, what's the best thing to do? Do you have to respond back or um in this situation, I
Okay.
think this thing happened. Okay, I don't know if I had an experience. I responded to a rejection. I think that gave me confidence. I got a rejection mail, then I responded. I was like, okay, can I know exactly what I did wrong that I'll do better? I can't remember if they responded back, but I think the response was quite positive that, oh, due to but I know I got a response. Yes, so I just
Mhm.
want you to just share, like, how do you how do what's the best way to react to rejection messages?
Okay, so I think I've gotten a couple of rejection mails as well. And personally, I believe rejection mails are even better than when they ghost you. You know, you don't hear
Yeah,
anything. At least you
you
have
know what?
closure. You have closure
Yes,
with rejection mails. So
guilty.
I really do believe in replying rejection mails. Like the few rejections I've gotten, if it was possible to send a response, I've often had to say thank you very much for considering me at least for the first stage. It was such a privilege being in the same space with brilliant minds. Please, if there are should any other role that is related to this come up, I would be really grateful, if I could be considered or if I could be aware, because you're talking to a human being, like you're not talking to a robot. So these people have emotions. They are reasonable to a good extent, quite considerate. So you should be able to still ask them, okay, in case something else comes up, I'm still interested. I would really like to know. And then you could also do the whole, oh, especially if the person was one of your interviewers, you could ask them, is there a reason why I was not picked? Was this something I did? Sometimes they'll just let you know that, no, the truth is that there was already somebody for the role even before this whole interview process started. Sometimes they'll tell you that, okay, your qualifications were not up to. Try and see if you can work on getting a diploma in this or honing your skill more in this regard. But then if you don't ask, you'll never know. And I think I'm really big on making sure that your regret is the regret of, oh, I did it and it didn't work out, than the regret of I never tried. So I'm usually team send responses. I'm usually team, ask questions. The only thing is that in all of this, you need to be polite. It is important, it's imperative that you are polite, because the fact that you were rejected today by that company does not mean that there will not be other rules that will open up in the future. You do not want to burn your bridges. The fact that, oh, this company rejected you does not mean that, for instance, the HR, the HR personnel of that company does not have an in at another company. You don't want to be that person that's like, oh, to hell with all of you, I didn't even need you anyways. And then you are rude and mean. Meanwhile, that should have been your link to another company who needs someone to fill that role, and it just opened up. So sometimes in your character and the attitude, in the way you respond to criticism, that could also be a marker for more opportunities. Someone can see you and be like, okay, we didn't have slots enough in our company to give this person this role. But the way they responded was so serene, was so composed, so poised, so polite, that if I see another opening, I'm going to recommend this person just because of their attitude. So it's very important that as much as you're heartbroken, as much as you are crying and you're like, how dare you reject me? You must comport yourself And if you're responding to a rejection mail, you're responding politely.
So the joke about um competing with global talent with our Nigerian limitations is just very strong in my mind. But yeah, apologies. My network kept logging me off. I can't seem to hear you. Is it just me?
No, it's not just you. I can't hear her either. I don't know if
Oh,
you
okay,
can
okay.
hear me.
I can hear you. I can hear you now. I don't know if you're muted. I can't hear you. Okay. Yeah, I can hear
Can you
you
hear
now.
me now?
Yes,
Okay, okay, all right.
perfect.
Thank you. Okay, all right, that's good. Thank you so much. So I was asking, did you get the question about salary negotiation?
Yes, I think the
Or
one where you were talking about the design you wanted to do, right? And selling
yes,
how to
yes,
sell yourself. Okay, I got
yes,
bits of
yes.
it, but I think I get
Thank
the
you so
gist.
Okay. Yes, I wanted you to just
Yeah.
share how do you negotiate for salary at that interview phase? How do you
Okay.
charge without undercharging or overcharging?
So I think first is to understand the value that you bring. um once you understand it, the value you bring, you are able to sell that value for a fee, right? And now there are, like the example that you gave, there are times where people are even willing to pay more for the value that you give
Yeah.
than you are even
Mm,
willing to collect. So at that point is to kind of do your research. So I'll give examples of companies and like interviews. So when you are going for an interview, you have to like get somebody that has worked in the firm prior. Now, the world is a global village. You can just check up LinkedIn, maybe message somebody. I've done it before a couple of times where I want to, like, I'm preparing for an interview and it's part of like your interview prep where you reach out, you look for people that work in the firm and just ask questions. And a disclaimer, don't expect like responses all the time, or maybe if you are like reaching out to people on LinkedIn, tell people that you don't know and you're just like sliding into their DMs or like sending connection requests. Some people may snub you and yeah, you may not get positive responses, but still do your research, ask around. Somebody may know somebody that knows somebody that has worked in the firm, and so you're able to just understand the structure, how payments are made, if everybody is paid on the same level at the same amount, or people are charged higher, right? For if you are coming from a place where you were not paid so much, but you have the understanding that, oh, in this company, the pay is way higher. Now the HR is doing their job and they are on a budget, right? They are trying to reduce as much as possible the amount that they'll pay you. So when they see your previous pay slip and they see that, oh, it wasn't so much, they will try to underpay you in accordance with that, right? But it's for you to understand. When you understand really, really the value that you bring, and you are able to speak confidently and sell that value, then then give them what you want, like give them your offer, right? And um at the end of the day, if it's beyond what their budget is, then they may not reach out to you. But that's why it's good to know, like, you have done your research, so you know what these people can actually pay you, right? So you know that they are not underpaying you; they are paying you for your value, right? Um, I think that's, I think that that's it for me. Yeah. I was going to say something else,
All right.
but it skipped my mind. But if I remember it, I would be sure to add that.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So it was even still similar to what Dr. Free shared earlier about knowing your value. So it all boils down to knowing your value and actually doing your research. And most questions that have been answered
Yeah,
today, the answer still goes back to doing your research. Doing your research. So you don't go to an interview empty-handed or ill prepared. You have to do your research. Thank you
exactly.
so much for sharing. Now that you are
Yeah.
here, there are some questions I asked Dr. Free earlier that I would still like you to just share some answers to. Can you hear me? I see here. Can you hear me clearly? I think network again. Miss Flourish, can you hear me? Oh, network is bad. I can't hear you. Oh, her network is bad again. So, guys, we'll be rounding up very soon. I think network just wants us to end the session, but thank God we're able to cover up a lot of questions. Thank you so much for joining. If you've stayed up to the end, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you have some questions, I can't see any questions in the comments. I can't see any questions, but I feel we've already answered most questions already. Thank you so much for joining. So if you register for the mock interview, just keep an eye out on your emails. You get an email before 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, before 8 a.m. tomorrow, about the details of your session, of your mock interview session, the time you are supposed to join in, and every other detail will be shared in the email. So please, if you registered, keep an eye out on your emails and feel free to follow all our facilitators on social media, on LinkedIn, on Instagram with their names. Dr. Offrey can follow at Offrey Angela Ogbidi. Miss Flourish, you can follow as Flourish Okonkwo. Just search out their names as seen on the flyer, and then you will be able to follow them both on Instagram and LinkedIn. So Dr. Offrey is here with us back. Thank you so much for joining again, Dr. Offrey. Thank you so much for joining. So at this point, I just wanted to just share any final words that you just have on preparing for interviews.
Okay, so I think my final word for this session is practice. Practice. There are some people that communication comes easily to. Yes, we admit it. Yes. However, there is so much of a difference practicing makes. Whether it's you standing on a platform as a public speaker or sitting in front of a group of 3, 4, 5 experienced men and women, if it's something that you've done before, you've already defeated the foe in your head before you ever sat in that interview room. If you want to practice, for some people, you practice with friends. It's okay to sit down and think, what are the possible questions? You write it down, and then you get someone you know to ask you. Because of the fact that it's someone you know, you would see how you respond to questions in a tension-free setting. That is number one. So when you're able to do that, if possible, you can go a bit further and get someone that you are not so close to, but still has a good idea of what that whole sector entails. You can also get them to ask you the same questions. You give responses, they vet your responses, such that by the time you are sitting in the interview room, it's not your first time, it's not your second time. If you're even extreme like me, it's not even your third time. So those questions are looking, oh, we've been here before. We killed these giants before we ever came to the battlefield. So please practice. You can never practice too much, but you can not practice enough.
Thank you. You can never practice too much, but you can never practice enough. You can never but you can never practice to go a bit further. Thank you for to go a bit further for partnering with me on this. Thank you for sharing that. So I just wanted to um explain what you said. You can never practice too much, but you can practice too small. That last statement you made, I wanted to just repeat it.
Okay, you said you wanted clarity on the last line.
Yeah, I just wanted to just state it again. It's a very key point. I want to
Okay,
note it.
Punchline.
so you can
Yes, a
never
punchline.
practice too much. Oh God. You can never practice too much, but you can practice not enough. Like it's possible for you to not have practiced enough. Do you get? So find a way to craft it and make it sound pretty. Oh, that's the moral lesson.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing. And yes, you can even use ChatGPT to get questions. So you can use ChatGPT to get the questions, start practicing. It all boils down to practice. The more you practice, the more you are better at it, and then you will be able to perform better. So that's why we are having this mock interview session. So at the mock tomorrow, you'll be able to practice. So whenever you have another interview, you'll be able to do better based on practice and then the corrections you would have gotten tomorrow. So thank you so much. Ms. Torres, thank you for joining. Dr. Frey, thank you for joining and for all the answers you've given. We are so grateful. We are so grateful. Um, Thank you also to GoABitFurther Africa for partnering me on this. Mr. Andrews, I know you are behind the camera. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. So you can follow GoABitFurther Africa on all social media handles. If you're interested in anything development, personal development, you are a youth, you are an undergraduate, follow Go Before the Africa. There are programs there, there are events there that you would love, and then you would be better for. Thank you. So Miss Fersh, if you are still with us, I just wanted to just share maybe one point or something that we just a final line on how we can do better and prepare better for interviews.
Okay, so I'd say build confidence. A lot of us have trauma from childhood and how we are raised, and we just we just want to shrink in our own little corner, you know. But I'd say build confidence, build your confidence, do things that would make you have this. But like the first time I ever presented, I can never forget that day. It was in as an undergraduate. There was a debate competition. I think I had done more some things like that in secondary school, but I don't know why. Then that day, I just was shaking, and when they are clapping for you to um encourage you and bring you down from the stage. That was yes, that was the experience because I had stopped. I was confused. I had started again. I'm like, oh, please let me start again. I started again, and I had stopped mid track again. And just looking at the crowd, looking at how they were just clapping for me, and I was just coming down the stage. But if there's something that I'm interested, like I've built myself to learn, is how to now speak publicly, build that confidence that you need, right? Because the interview, going into an interview room can be intimidating. You see people, see suits, with suits and all of that. And if it's a video, you're supposed to compose yourself and just speak and answer questions that they throw at you. So one thing that'll help you is when you are confident, you are able to just, give responses. Even though it may not be 100% accurate, but you speaking in confidence just tells them something. Now, okay, this person may not know it, but at least he can communicate, he can pass an information to me, and that's what you want to always do.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's the thing about confidence. Reminds me of, in school, they just tell us that even if you don't know this stuff, just be speaking, just be confident. Like you are
Yeah,
moving
exactly.
rubbish, you are saying what is wrong, but just be confident.
Yeah,
Sometimes the examiners might just be shocked, wow, you are so confident in speaking rubbish, but then you are confident.
exactly.
A
You're
win is a
confident
win.
and no one can take it from you.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now,
You're
and this thing about
welcome.
building confidence, it will not come
Mhm.
one day. It will not come easy.
Yeah,
The little steps
definitely.
that you take, raising your hand to ask questions in class. That's one way. Offering to take presentations, presenting whatever fact that you have, maybe your clickings, whatever. These are just little ways that you can build confidence, and then when you finally get into that interview room, you'll be able to do better. Thank you so much for sharing, Miss Flourish. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful. Despite the network and everything, you still tried to be a part of this. Thank you. Now, like I said, you can follow our facilitators on social media, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, with their names. You can also follow GoABitFurther Africa on those platforms too. And if you register for the mock, like I said, please keep an eye out on your emails. Before 8 a.m. tomorrow, you get the email with the details of the time and every other thing that you need to know about your session. Thank you so much once again. And like was said, practice, practice. You can never practice too much, and you can never, but you can practice too little, and then builds confidence. Builds confidence. Courage is not the absence of fear, but it's doing things in spite of the fear. So even if you are scared about raising your hand to ask that question in class, ask the question. Even if you are scared about that presentation, make the presentation. Even if you are scared about standing up to state your point, or to speak up in a debate competition, do it. And then these are just little steps that you can take to build your confidence and do better in the future and go a bit further. So thank you once again. And I think we'll be ending here. Let's show appreciation to the facilitators in the comment. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so, so much. Thank you. And then feel free to share the link later with anyone that wants to. Maybe they have an interview coming up. They can just come, listen to this recording, and then get tips on doing better. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye, Miss Flourish. Bye, Dr.
Bye.
Free. Thank you once
Bye.
again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you, good everyone.